Being great at sales is essential to your business and your career, but you and I both know that the stress of selling and dealing with constant rejection can be an emotional drain. My entire brand, No BS Selling, is based on the belief that professional sales is a skill and not a personality, and that to be better at sales takes constant refinement and a dedication to your craft. This show is for salespeople and entrepreneurs who are committed to improving their sales skills and getting better results, and are sick and tired of the BS game that often happens between buyers and sellers. Welcome to the No BS Sales Podcast, and I'm your host, Walker McKay. I'll help you and your sales team make selling easier, feel less cheesy, and be more lucrative. It's time to change the rules and level the playing field between you and the people you sell to. You're already good, let's be better. Welcome to the No BS Sales Podcast. I'm your host, Walker McKay. Today, I am super excited to have as my guest. I want you guys to make sure you listen to this. I've got David Gross, who is self-named the Unconventional Roofer, sells roofing in Memphis, Tennessee. David's going to talk to us today about the importance of the customer experience in sales. I want you guys to listen to David because he is a master at selling, and he is so unassuming and so, no bullshit, straight up. I think you'll get a kick out of David. And if you're in the Memphis area and you need a new roof, you should absolutely call him. David, welcome to the No BS Sales Podcast.
Thanks, Walker. That is oh my goodness, that introduction just makes me feel real good. Thanks a lot.
I'm already here trying to kiss your ass at the beginning of the show, but I am super impressed with what you're doing.
You.
David, you've got a kind of interesting background. How in the world, and by the way, I'll just say for those of you listening at home, David does not look like what your image of a traditional roofer might be. Dave's he might be offended of this. Dave's kind of a preppy guy, all clean shaven, all this kind of stuff. David, tell me your story. How'd you get here? You don't look like you were born in the roofing business.
Yeah. I'm not offended whatsoever, and that's what kind of went into the name of Unconventional Roofer. I often tell people, and maybe it's just good genetics, but I often tell people before I come to their house, I say, okay, we'll call it Lisa. The other day, I said, Lisa, I have to tell you something. When I show up, it's going to look like my mom dropped me off. So I look like I'm 12 years old. It's an uphill battle that I face. I get ID'd when I buy milk. I mean,
That's
it's just
funny. So funny.
But, oh my gosh. But it's something that I've taken ownership of, and I love it. But getting into roofing, it's actually, I always tell people that I fell into roofing. It wasn't by design. It was kind of by chance. I was in the military before. I owned a gym for years. And then the gym got me into consulting. I consulted for businesses for a while. And then I got to a point, as of recently, actually, where I took a reevaluation of what I was doing. And instead of looking at the perfect job fit, I looked at the company that held my values. So I was actually walking around the block, and I listed out my values, and I thought, okay, who has the same values that I do? And it turns out the guy, my good friend that owns a roofing company, I called him and said, hey, Noel, I know that you and I have the same values. Who do you know that's looking for good talent? And he says, I'll never forget this. He says, you'll be perfect in roofing. And my heart sunk to my toes.
Wait, no, that's not what I meant.
Yes. Yeah, I said, what? And I continue to think about it. I continue to pray about it. And it just, after I got over my overwhelming fear of heights, I'm in good shape.
Wow. So all that, you're afraid of heights too?
Oh,
Do you
man.
climb roofs? You climb roofs in your business?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I climb roofs in my business.
Well, let me stop for a second. Let me back, because I got there, but I got ahead of myself, because you said something really interesting a second ago. You said I had to, you said you were taken aback, or were like, holy shit, when he said you'd be a great roofing salesman. Tell me what was going on there.
That's a good question. I was taken aback. I really didn't quite know what I wanted to do. I knew that I would be, I knew that I'd be successful anywhere that I went and anything that I did. I think it was just me having to process it a little bit, because once I hit 24, 48 hours, I was in. I was committed.
Wow.
But I've just, maybe I was, when I was taken aback, if you look at the disc profile, Walker, I have a bit of a C personality in me, so I need
Which
to have
means that
some information.
he's very much of a fact gatherer. Things
Oh
that are right
yeah,
and wrong. It's black and
yeah,
white. He's a
yeah.
damn rule follower. One
Right.
of those guys.
That's it. Yeah. So I've got a little bit of that in me as well. So that personality type came out, and it said, okay, hold on a second. Let's make sure that there's a market for it, that there is a need, and make sure that
Yeah.
I
Who
have
the
to
hell might
understand the
need
sales
roofs?
cycle.
We might be
Who
running
that?
out of rooftops. And there might be none of those. That
That's
was
right.
hard. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. But once I realized that, I mean, basically everyone has the stuff that we sell and build and install. It's a no brainer. But I have belief in the company. I have belief in the owners, and I'm in. I'm telling my wife. A couple days later, she's the same way. She's very calm, steady. She needs predictability, and we go. We kind of go at it for a couple days, and once she was bought in, I'm 100%.
It was over. Yeah.
It was over. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so you've got this cool moniker that you came up with called the Unconventional Roofer. That does not come from your company. That is purely
Right.
David Gross. What is that? Where did that come from?
Well, it came from when I approached roofing, I had some assumptions about the business. Now, let me ask you a question. I know you ask all the questions, but I want to ask you a
I'm happy to
question.
answer a
When you
question, sure.
have, yeah, when you think about a roofer, what are some of the things that come to mind?
Nails, trucks,
Nails,
mess, expensive,
yeah, expensive.
probably tough guys, I guess, up on the roof.
Yeah.
And I have two clients in the roofing business, but this is just my perception as a customer. Yes.
That's right. And most people, most people in the roofing business are either they were either born on the roof, or they've been doing it since,
1492.
1492.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So as I come into this, how do I break the mold? And most people that I've found have had bad experiences. I'll say horrible experiences with contractors.
Right. Yeah.
I ask people all the time, I said, what would you like to get, or how do you choose a contractor? And most people say, I don't want to get screwed over.
Yep.
I want somebody who's honest. I want somebody who will show up. Those are important things, right?
Yeah.
So me being and having the title of unconventional roofer is a first punch statement of what you know to be true. Typically not so great is what is not what you're going to get.
How did you come up with that? Lucky?
Maybe luck. I think it hit me one day. I was just thinking about, I often put myself in the customer's shoes. So as a consumer, what are some of the things that are important to me? And if I try to think like my customers, I wanted something that was going to be very simple but compelling.
Yeah.
Kind of like a movie title or a book title.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So this is better than 4 weddings and a funeral or something, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Or it's better than the best roofing guy in town.
Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Right. Yeah. Nobody believes that shit. Everybody's the best. There are 37 number one car dealerships in South Carolina.
That's right. Yeah. Memphis too.
Yeah. So, all right. So you came up with that. What I love when you and I talked before, you talked about your approach, your marketing approach for getting new business. So pretend you've sold a house in a neighborhood, right? You've sold a house. You've sold a roof on a house. Tell me about how do you go about getting other customers in that neighborhood?
Yeah. So we'll talk about a real life example.
Yeah.
So I'm building a roof on Monday, coming up Monday. Here in a couple days, and I always we're scheduled 2 to 3 weeks out. So within those 2 to 3 weeks, I'll touch each house within earshot, which I've defined as 46 houses around the area. Within earshot, I'll touch those houses 3 times. And the way that I do that is subliminally, that's a hard word to say. I'll
It
put a
is. You
yard
got it
sign
though. Yeah.
in the yard, and I will handwrite a letter to all the neighbors. And in that
You
handwritten letter,
handwrite 46 letters.
I handwrite the letters.
Okay.
Again, unconventional,
Yes.
right? I handwrite the letters, and basically in the letters I say, let me give you a heads up. It's going to be a major construction project. Walker, what we're seeing these days with COVID, this is the area that we're in right now. People are working from home, and kids are going to school at home.
Yep.
Which means that that people and we build from sun up to sundown. It's a major distraction and disruption in people's days.
Yep.
So my approach is, Walker, I'm building your neighbor's house. It's going to be a mess for 2-3 days. Here are the hours that we're going to build. Here's the day that we're going to build. Be prepared for traffic. Be prepared for noise. And I give them things as well. So if somebody runs over a nail, I pay for their tires, which no one else typically does.
And by the way, this is not your company paying for the tires. This is David Gross paying for the tires, offering to pay for the tires. Yes,
absolutely.
David.
Yeah,
ownership right there. Yep.
Extreme ownership, right? Now, what I'll do is I'll handwrite that letter, and then I'll go and knock on everyone's door. I'll go knock on everyone's door, and if they're not home, I'm hanging a flyer with my personal business card. That's 2 to 3 times they've seen our company from me. And the day of the project, I'll go and knock on everyone's door as well and remind them, hi, put a face with a name. And most people say, yeah, I got your letter. Thank you so much. And at that point, you ever seen Columbo?
Oh yeah, love Columbo.
Columbo, I'll have a great conversation. Right as I'm walking away, I'll say, oh gosh, I forgot to ask, has anybody ever told you about your shingles? Or have you ever noticed the spot on your roof? And then that opens up to potential business.
Okay, good. And
so I've touched these people 3 times.
3 times. And so
yeah,
have you, obviously you're probably somebody who tracks that shit. What kind of turnaround are you getting from that? How many leads are you getting per roof?
Yeah. So for 45 letters, I get 1 roof.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's, that's my results of Q3 of Q3 of this year.
Okay. And you've just been doing it for 3 years, for three quarters, correct? 7 months, maybe?
1 quarter, 3 months.
You've been doing this for 1 quarter. And how many roofs have you sold?
Yeah. I've sold $75,000 in roofs in a quarter.
Yep. And so, and just starting, and compare that to, I mean, how many other guys sell from my town?
Oh, I would say 6.
Okay. 6 or 7?
6 to 8. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 6 to 8. I think we have on staff now.
And how many other guys in your office are doing the same things you're doing?
From what I know, I don't know the exact numbers. I would say.
I mean, same tactics, not even same volume, but same tactics.
Oh, same tactics, less than 10%.
Okay, so nobody in your office is doing what you're doing. You made this shit up on your own.
Yeah, basically. I came into the company with a clean slate, and they said, we believe in you, and they gave me the autonomy to do whatever I needed to. So I took past experiences, and I took what I thought would work, and I just worked as hard as I possibly could. And I was coming in at a bit of a disadvantage, and maybe I had a bit of a chip on my shoulder, just to stand out and to shine. No one's answering the door during a pandemic, and we're the company's saying, well, what are we going to do? Their sales guys saying, well, we're not quite sure how to.
It's COVID. Nobody's buying anything. We can't knock on doors. Everybody's having a fucking heart attack.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what I did was I pretended that COVID didn't exist, and I worked my butt off.
So how many hours a day are you working? When do you start?
I work from 9 to 5, and from 5 o'clock, we'll consider this as work, from 5 o'clock to 6:30. Without daylight savings times is when I go and knock on my doors.
Okay. And you said you do that until 6:30, right? Yeah. And and if you get 10 conversations, you'll stop, or 6:30. Isn't that the way you said that, or did I make that up?
That's right. That's right. So this is I'll have 10 conversations. I'll pass out 20 flyers or knock on 20 doors. But
Okay.
if I talk to 10 people, I'm done.
You can go home.
I go home
5 days a week.
5 days a week.
What's the,
Actually, 5 days a week, and I wake up early from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock a.m. on Saturdays. I'm going out to pass out flyers as well.
so what surprised you the most about being in that business? Brand new, but sales job, knock outside sales, probably first time you've done that. I know you've done some consulting sales, but first time knocking on doors. What surprised you the most?
I would say, I mean, it's a positive thing. So many people need help with their homes.
Yep.
I came from a sales background where no one seemed to need help.
Right. Yes.
To a point where it's almost every 1 out of 2 doors that you knock on, people have leaks and people have problems.
Yep.
If it's not their roof, it's siding or windows. And there's a an abundance of business.
Yeah. It's amazing, isn't it? And
It
so
is amazing.
you are and I'll just speak from what I know and from
Mhm.
your current results and from past results that you've had from
Yeah.
our conversations in the past. You're and you won't admit this, but you're a kick-ass sales guy and is so unassuming and so humble, which is
Mhm.
what's so great. One would not, you're not
Mhm.
this typical hero kick down doors thing. It's much more of the
Yeah.
guide like we talk about here at Nebula Sales. What are some things that you think make a great salesperson?
Uh, I would say at its core, Walker, it's passion, it's drive, and it's ambition.
Okay.
I believe personally, if somebody wants something bad enough, a skill is learnable.
Yep.
So if coming into, and I appreciate the comment, that means a lot. Coming into roofing, I knew that if I wanted it bad enough, if I wanted to succeed, what's the guy's name that says if you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe?
You're
Eric.
gonna. I don't even know who that is.
Oh gosh, Eric. He's a motivational speaker, and it's a beautiful story. Have you ever heard that?
No.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So this guy goes out to the beach. He meets a guru, and the guru walks him out into the water, and he says, how do I become successful? And he holds his head underwater, and he's drowning, and he's almost at the end. And the guru comes up, and the guy's gasping for air, and the guru says, if you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, you can do anything.
Wow.
So if you find someone who has that element of I will do whatever it takes to reach my goals, you could teach them roofing, you could teach them point of sale systems, you could teach them to ride horses, you could teach them to fly airplanes,
Yep.
whatever they want to do.
It's. I mean, it's such a. Can you teach that? I mean, how would somebody recognize that in somebody they're interviewing, for example?
There's a loud car beside me. Just
It's all right. I don't
let
care.
me know if it's bad. Okay, say that again, please.
How would somebody who's interviewing somebody else? How the hell
Mm.
could you recognize it in somebody else?
That's a good question, and it's a
Because
question that I've
everybody's trying to
asked.
hire some. I mean, ideally, most trying to hire some version of you. How in the hell do we find
That's
some
right.
version of you?
That's right. This is what I used to do. Okay, this is what I used to do in my business. I owned a CrossFit gym, and what we would do is we would require someone to work for 90 days without pay.
Okay.
It was an internship. So maybe some sort of that. And I'm brainstorming here because I haven't quite figured that out.
Yeah,
But
right.
once I figured
But
it
if we
out,
could
I'll
bottle
probably
that shit
sell
up,
the
we could.
idea.
Yeah, if we could bottle that shit up, we'd be
Absolutely.
millionaires, right?
Absolutely. If someone wants it bad enough, they'll do whatever it takes to get there.
Mm-hmm.
So what if I were to find someone in roofing? Let's see, somebody comes up to our office. They said, I want to be in roofing. I said, okay, great. How about you ride with me, or I ride with you? Let's go out to a neighborhood. I'm going to walk with you as you knock on 50 doors, cold
Mm-hmm.
calls,
Mm-hmm.
and then after that, we'll have a conversation about values
Mm-hmm.
and skill set.
Yep. Yep.
Now that's going to be a very that's going to be a narrow gate that many people won't
Yeah, they'll
pass
freak.
through.
Yep.
They'll freak out. Absolutely. So it's kind of puts your money where your mouth is type idea. Does that make sense?
It does. I mean, it's interesting when I talk to people who are going to
Yeah.
be doing a lot of prospecting, a lot of phone prospecting. I say
Mhm.
during the interview,
Yeah.
during the last meeting, put them in an office with a list of names and say, I want you to
Absolutely.
call and set appointments. Here's 20 names, call and set
Absolutely.
appointments. And you walk out the room and let them stay. And
Yeah.
what you'll find if you can
Mhm.
watch in is that some people will sit there and they'll sweat and they'll pick up their phone, they'll put it down, they'll do all this shit
Yeah.
and won't be able to make a
Yeah.
call. And if that's going to be their
Right.
job, you don't want to hire somebody that can't pick up the damn telephone.
That's right. That's right. And regardless, regardless, I think it's a mindset in sales as well. Regardless if you get turned down or people don't answer the door, if you want it bad enough, you get out there and do it.
You just keep going.
Maybe that's it.
And all right, so that's the mindset, right? Is that you've
Yeah,
got to want it very badly. Okay, so let's
that's
assume
right.
that's the case. If there was one skill that you would want a salesperson to have to begin with,
Hmm.
a basic skill they could have, what would you suggest that it be?
Listening.
Listening. How'd you pick that?
Listening is a skill. Not many people do it.
So how does one get better at listening?
Practice, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Practice, awareness, I believe. You could start to record. I saw something once, and I can't. I'm not going to identify the platform here, but we trained a company back in my consulting days where they recorded their sales calls,
Mm-hmm.
and it was evident that at the end of the sales calls, it showed the percentage of who talked. So prospect
Yeah.
to
Yep.
salesperson.
Yes.
Salesperson A all the time would be 70%, 80% talking. And if you saw that, and we saw that, and we're thinking, my goodness, well, here's a clear metric that you can that you could go off of. If you don't have a software like that, you could probably just go home tonight, and when you ask, or when your significant other says, "I had a bad day," you could simply say, "Tell me more," and then shut up.
Yep. You know, it's funny. I teach people to practice that and what we talk about at NoBS is how the most important thing a salesperson can ask is somebody else's opinion, right? It's to get them to share their opinions. Facts and data are fine. How
Mhm.
many, how much, that kind of stuff. But the real value comes from asking people their opinions about their roof, what they like, what they don't, what they're looking for, what they're not, what would be important, what they don't care about, right? And not to argue
Absolutely.
with or change their opinion. Listen, right? And by asking somebody their opinion and
Mhm.
often then asking a
Yeah.
follow-up question about that, why, how, whatever that is, to dig deeper in,
Mhm.
it's amazing what you can learn. It's amazing the trust you can build
Mhm.
and by not saying, well, but, and talk them out of it, you can build so much bonding and learn about the
Oh
other
my
person. And
goodness.
people
Yeah.
rarely get to share their opinions without having somebody else say, well, let me tell you what I think, because nobody gives a shit what you think.
Mhm.
Which is
That's
why it's
right.
so important
That's
to
right.
ask the question in the first place of your prospect and then listen.
Mhm.
Nobody ever
Yeah.
does that to
Yeah.
them. So, and here I'm
That's
talking
right.
all over you. So,
No,
um,
no, no, no. It's great. I love it.
so, so tell me something, David. How would somebody reach you? Somebody in the Memphis area that says, "Shit, I need a different roofing experience." How would they reach you?
Yeah. You could go. Most people do one thing first before I say choose a contractor. They'll go to Google. So just Google our business, My Town Roofing, and you could see all the different reviews. You could go a little personal and go to my LinkedIn page, which is David Gross, or you could search for on LinkedIn the Unconventional Roofer. And if you'd like to see pictures of my kids, you could go to Facebook. Oh,
Same name, David Gross,
yeah, you go to David
Gross.
Gross. Yeah, Gross, and I put a lot of roofing things on there, and there's a lot of life. Um, that you just kind of see a collective overview. Send me a message or reach out to me.
David, what's the kindest thing anybody's ever done for you?
That is the best question I've probably been asked all year. The kindest thing that someone has ever done for me is just believed in me.
You have a specific example?
Oh, I have many examples.
Give me one.
Every boss that I've had in my careers, plural. My grandmother, she was there. She's always been there.
Tell me a story about your grandmother.
Tell
How many
my
times when she
grandmother.
believed in you when you really needed it?
Oh yeah, yeah. My grandmother. Okay, I'll tell you a funny story. I was in the Navy, and I looked 12 years old. Okay,
hmm
I altered my my military ID, so I could buy drinks on base. And the
course you
only
did.
way I could do that is I turned my 88 into an 83, which
Mhm.
makes me, I don't know, 30.
35.
Well, at the time I was 35. At the time I was 19. I get caught, okay? I buy a couple drinks, I get caught, and I thought at this point my military career was over.
Yeah, you're done.
And oh, I'm done. I'm done. I'm even in basic training. I haven't even moved on yet.
God.
And it is a big deal, and I'll never forget. And I've actually hold this very close memory. And in my heart, my grandmother said, she says, David, you made a mistake, but this too shall pass.
Yeah.
And that right there let me know that she, regardless of what I do, regardless of
Yeah.
who I become, what job, who I am as a person, um, that that she's just a voice of reason. And that's just a small example of
Yeah. It's
just
great.
a lifetime that she's been there.
It's awesome. Um,
Yeah.
David, thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah,
No
man,
BS
I
sales
wish we had
team.
a couple more hours.
I
This is
know I could
great.
easily spin off, do this again. No BS sales team. Thank you for listening. Please smash or press subscribe. If anybody you know needs to hear this, please share it with them. It also helps me a bunch if you would review this thing. Put a review. If you hate it, fuck you, don't hate it. But if you like it, give me some reviews. That builds this thing up. I have a new sponsor that will start in about 2 weeks, so I'm very excited about that. I've got some free stuff. If you want to, I got a great series called the 7 Sales Mistakes. If you go to 7salesmistakes.com, go grab that free video series. It's about 30 minutes of video about 7 sales mistakes that you're probably making that you can, with the how do you fix it on there. So super value, probably worth $150 for you for free for my listeners. Again, please share that if you want to as well. David Gross, the unconventional roofer at My Town Roofing in Memphis. Thank you so much for being a guest on the show. You are the damn man, and I enjoyed our conversation considerably.
Thanks, Walker.
Welcome.